I know that there is a long distance between this August and this October that just has come. But you know, I'm graduating the school in this year, and this all assignments from school and from Zenio tests, my assessment test, and my individual courses. That's too much for me. That I have no time for my favorite books that I wanted to read. That's a great pity. But that's not I'm gonna talking about today. Today I want to talk about my August wrap up and September. So in this month, so in August of 2014, I read about 70 books, and I want to tell you that I quite made the challenge. I completed it. So let's start with my first book, which I read in this month. So not in this, but in August. So I read Grigori Skovoroda. That is for my assessment tests. All these books I want to tell you, all these books are for my assessment tests after the graduation of the school. So that is for my Zenio tests. After that, I read Ivan Kotlяревский and Aida and Natalka Poltavka. That is in this huge book, like a preparation for my tests. And after that, I read Grigori Kvitkausnoyanenko, Marusia. So that is in this book as well. And I have my list here. So I'm going to be reading Taras Shevchenko, his selected works in this collection of works. And after that, I read Panteleimon Kulis Chernarada. That is the first historical novel in the history of our Ukrainian literature. So a cool composition and a cool book. Markovchuk, Maxim Hremach. I want to tell you that all Ukrainian literature is a very impressive and interesting, and so interesting and amazing literature. So that was very interesting too, and amazing and awesome to read through. I also completed this book, that is Ivan Chilovetsky Kaidashava Semya. It was really fun to read, but at the same time it was a sad story about the family life. After that, I completed, I guess, Ivan Karpet-Lukari, Martin Barula. That is for theater, so a theatrical composition that is in this huge book. And after that, I read Vindichenko, almost read Vindichenko. I don't have the physical copy because I borrowed them from the library. And Intermezzo, Mikhail Kozybenskiy, and Тіні забутих предків. Mikhail Kozybenskiy is our like a native habitant because he lived in the territory where I live, so in Vinnytsia, near the town where I live. So it was very interesting to read because like a composition where the Western European culture and our culture from, because I am from central Ukraine, so these two parts of our own and united culture is combined, and that it was very interesting to read. After that, I read Vasil Stefanik Камінний Хрест. It was a reread because I read that in my, I guess, in the 10th form. So this one, a very interesting, I think the cover is very interesting, like it was. It was a very interesting and amazing book. Then I read, in this huge book, I read Ivan Franko again. It was a reread because I read it back in 2013 and 14 in the 10th form. Then I read, I guess it was, where it is, Леся Українка, Лісова пісня. That is for my, all these compositions and books are for my Zenio tests. And Микола Вороний, Блакитна Панна, in here, in this book, Олександр Олесь, Чари ночі і Ослово рідне, and Ослово рідне. That is for my Zenio test. And I finally completed this book, and that is 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne. It was a very interesting adventure book, adventure story, 5 stars, and I really recommend you to read this book. But let's talk about my September TBR. Although it is October already now, but let's talk about my September TBR. So I would like to read a play by Chekhov, that is the Russian writer, my favorite Russian writer of all times. So that is Chaika, the Seagull, and the Cherry Garden, Vishnyovy Sad. So it would be a reread for me because I read it back in 2012 when I was in the 8th form, but a new book in a new age is a new book, I think. So very excited to read this book. For my ZNO test and for my school course, I'm going to be reading Yuri Yanovsky, Shalanda Mori, Vershniki. That is for my ZNO tests. And of course, something from the international books, like the plays. So I'm going to be reading Pygmalion by George Bernard Shaw. I watched a film called My Favorite Lady. Was very impressive film, so I think that the play will be as awesome as it was. And Henry Ibsen, The Doll's House. That is for my school program, not for my ZNO test, but only for my school program, and I am very excited to read this book. So I think that's all. There are overall, I think, 8 books to read in this month, so in September, although it's October now, but I'm very thankful for you that you watched my video, and if you really enjoyed it, you can hit the like down below, write a comment or subscribe down here if you want. But that's all. Bye bye.